Okay, welcome back to another Unreal stream for CG Spectrum. We're gonna do some more work with gun shooting and get that working. So I'm gonna get that started right away, and we're gonna continue where we left off from last week. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. I haven't really prepared for this scene again today, so as usual. And so we're gonna see if we're gonna have any surprises as we go through this. Oh, I should also mention I did do some updates to my green screen a little bit. Nothing too serious, but I got my light now coming from where my mic is, so my mic's a little bit closer. It's just right here. And trying to get the lighting so that it's a little bit more matched from the 3 points and allow me to really crank up the brightness, because I noticed last stream the light brightness was really quite dark. So I'm going for super bright, and we'll see how that goes. And hopefully we'll have a cleaner green screen as well. Anyways, going back to what we're doing here today. And we're going to open up our project from last week where we had the character running around and shooting. Hey, Sean's here. All right. I was hoping you'd show up. Glad to see you came and joined us for the part 2. Sean's got some sweet animation going on, which I was looking at earlier. I don't know if he wants me to share it with everybody here or not. Hell yeah, that's right. So what we're gonna do first is do a little recap of what we were doing before, and for my own sake, because I also forgot what I was doing before. So let's do a little play of the game here and see where we're at and see if it works. Okay, good. So we're compressing animations on the fly. Didn't know it did that on the fly like that. Alright, so we got our character running around. The gun is attached to the hand. And now we want to make sure that when we hit the mouse trigger, we actually aim the gun forward and play our gun shot animation. We'll try to put some VFX in today and see if we can get so that it fires a weapon off in the distance, and that's pretty satisfying if you can get that to work. We got some access none, reading a property for blueprints, set gun, transform. This is probably going to be a simple task of just making it so that like I feel like this mesh asset here is probably coming off as not existing when it closes the game, so that's probably what it is. So anytime you have a sort of a mesh asset coming through a series of sequences, it's possible that the asset gets destroyed halfway through, and then it isn't able to access the mesh for the final call, and creates an error. Which is not a very harmful error, but it's avoidable, so you might as well avoid it. So is valid, execute that, and then that should go away. Oh my goodness, I just want to drag it down. And then the next thing is, there was another error, and if you go to view, no, wait a minute, hold on a sec. You go to Window, Development Tools, Message Log, that'll bring up this window again under Play in Editor, and we'll see what the second one is. Runtime. Oh, I think it's the same error. Call get player character, return value, access none. Oh, I guess that is also pulling up an error? I don't know. In which case, I don't really know if I can solve that very easily. Oh, yeah, it brought me to a new spot here. No, get player characters, this one. Alright, so anyway, hopefully we've solved those errors. Not a big deal if we haven't. So what we have already in our scene, in our blueprint here, is a montage for the gunfire. This is the montage that goes into, I think we can maybe navigate to it. Our gunfire animation that we had. That we just created quickly that plays in a montage. We have no notifies or anything set up yet, but basically we would have a notify that would trigger the phaser gun blast thing that's going to come out of there, as well as, you know, I don't know, sound effects, I guess. So what we have to do is play this montage first and make sure it works, and we're going to play it whenever the character presses the fire button. And so when you do an input command that comes from in your editor, the best way to do it is to go inside your project settings under input and allow yourself to add some sort of other mapping. So this one's going to be an action mapping, and the action mapping is, because action mapping is like a button press, and axis mapping is, you know, mouse moving or joystick moving, or joystick, controller, thumb stick thing. So the action is going to be fire, which is pretty straightforward. It's probably going to be like a left mouse click. And that is now set into our project, so I can call that when I need to. I don't think you can call it inside of an animation blueprint. Otherwise, I'd see it in that list. You have to call it in a character blueprint, and that's one of those random, weird, confusing things. There's certain rules and certain blueprints that you can and can't do, and sometimes it's tricky to get the hang of it in the beginning. So we're going to go to our character blueprint, wherever I put it. Yep. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Characters. So inside your character blueprint, I can call things like left mouse button, which is something I left from last week. But this time I'm just going to call fire, which is now the name of that input I made. And the reason why it's better to do it this way is because if you switch from like keyboard settings to mouse settings to joystick setting or controller settings, like you can dynamically swap out what type of controls you want, and it's just called fire. It's a dynamic function instead of specifically deliberately saying right mouse button, and then you also have to say controller right trigger or something, just so that, you know, it keeps it all organized inside of that one menu. And that menu for the input is just an ini file, really, in your project. I'm gonna go the hard way, I guess, to find it. It's under config, under input, default input. And you can see in here we've got a bunch of different stuff that's default. But here's our axis mappings that we've created. There's my fire right there, already been created. So it's just a bunch of lines of code that I keep track of it. So if you do switch your projects or whatever, then you have to make sure that you bring this along for the ride. Otherwise you'll lose all your commands for this. Alright, so this button pressed is going to activate a object. Let's see here. We could just set a variable, I guess. I'm just going to make a new variable, and we'll call it is firing, and it'll be a boolean, so it'll just be either on or off. So we say true, and then released, I guess, can be a false. And so those are variables that we can expose to the animation blueprint now, because that's just how it works. You go from the character blueprint down to the animation blueprint, and we're exposing it through here, actually, this guy, which is often set right here instead, which might be better. for simplicity's sake here. We'll just pull from here and say we need to get the variable is fired. It's not going to find it. I'm actually probably wrong about my theory. This is the great part about doing stuff on the fly. Get pawn owner. I guess you can't get it from here. Alright, so we gotta cast to our character blueprint, I guess. Or can we get? No, that's not gonna be the same thing. Alright, so we'll cast to, what is it called? BP Symmetro character. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the object I put in here? And then this ends up being the, this is where I can get is fired. It is fired. And so now, basically, if I'm hitting it, it's just going to keep saying go, 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 which is going to play this animation over and over and over again. So we kind of want to control how many times we trigger this. You can do there's a do once option that has a reset functionality. So we got to try to figure out on the fly here how we're going to do this. But whenever that's completed, it's going to activate the play montage. We should even perhaps say either on completed we reset it, or we could put a timer to say the animation, you know, don't allow the gun firing to happen until after a certain amount of time, which would give you more control about how quickly you can fire guns. So in theory, you could be like, and you don't have to necessarily wait until it's completed, which might not be a bad idea. In that case, we would just say delay, retriggerable delay, or just a delay. So that would come in here first. No, it wouldn't. It would come here also. So we need a sequence to be able to play multiple functions. And we would say, first of all, let's do it. Second of all, let's trigger delay for however long we want the gunfire to be. So 0.2 is actually pretty good. Let's just keep that. And then we'll do reset. We'll get rid of this. Maybe we'll do 0.5. Play rate 1, starting position 0, starting section. Starting section is kind of an interesting option. In here we have section here called fire. So we just made one section called fire. I don't know if we have to call it all the time, but we'll do it anyways. And then obviously we have our montage loaded up here. So one thing that I was really emphasizing last week to remember is to make sure that you use your slot option, which allows you to see the play montage, and that happens in your anim graph. And this is that confusing concept of, you know, like there's basically you're setting stuff up in the graph editor, but your event graph, but you're also managing how the animation is being pushed out. And if you ever we get into like rigging within Unreal, it's a very similar process to this, where each tick of animation is going through this process of like manipulating your animation until you finally get to your output, which you're going to see on that frame. And when you're dealing with the rigging, it's a similar idea, which is like really neat. But you're basically saying, build an IK system that has like this many joints, put a controller here, and do this thing, and do that, and then output, and it all happens in one tick. It's like it re-rigs it every frame, which sounds extremely wasteful, but I don't know, it works, and it looks cool, and it has a totally different workflow here. Because then you're like, oh, I don't really want an IK on the arm, I want it to be an FK or something. I don't know, I'm really trying to come up with some ideas. I don't really know the rigging system that well. But you would just like swap it out, and then all of a sudden your rig is now a new rig. And it's ready to go right away. And then you just have to like, you know, you can just manipulate it on the fly and test things out instantaneously and see how it runs as a final rig, which is really cool, but also totally backwards from what normal rigging is set up like. So here's our default slot. Default slot is for the Animontage, which is our here. We got default group. We just decided to use default group, default slot here. But we could use a new one and create our own custom ones. But anyway, just having it there should allow us to see the animation if a lot of these elements are working. So let's give it a try. So left click. Alright, so we're gonna do some more tests. It doesn't always work the first try. I shouldn't give myself such a hard time. We're gonna do a test here for either we could do like this, which says we'll do a print statement, which says hello, and then on completed we say finished. So we should at least see, yeah, we're getting hello all the time. All right, well that's not good. So if we're getting hello all the time, that means that it's constantly triggering the montage, which means we're always hitting the first frame of the montage, and it's always infinitely blending nothing. So it never is able to stop and let it play. Something here is not working. I must be, oh, start closed. So the first time it runs, it's open. It should set it to closed. What's this on notify begin? That's new. Event called when a play montage notify or play montage notify window notify in a montage on notify begin. Okay, cool. Might be able to integrate that into our shooting with like blasts of stuff coming out. I don't know how you know which notify you're talking about. Oh, here's the notify name. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this was never here before. I have to sort of appreciate what that's cool for. Well, we'll try to use it. So this isn't working. I'm obviously triggering this many times over, unless this is for some reason part of the montage, but this delay must not be making any sense. I'm resetting it much faster than I realized maybe. Maybe we'll do like 3 seconds. I don't think this is it though, but we should definitely see like a hello every 3 seconds. Yeah, okay, it is working. We're getting hello every 3 seconds. We're still not seeing any animation. So obviously it's saying, oh, I don't have a branch in here, that's why. I haven't even bothered to make the branch. Branch is your if statement, basically. All right, well, now at least when I press the fire button, I should be able to see it say hello. Fire. And then we go fire, 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 fire. We should be still like waiting 3 seconds. So we'll put this back to 0.5. Now what I gotta do is figure out why the animation isn't working, which is a very common problem. I've been in this situation before many times. I'm gonna make a comment group for firing weapon. Okay. In skeletal mesh component. Oh my goodness. Have I forgotten that part? That seems really important. No, surely it's the component that we already have. Do I really have to put my own character in here? Probably. Oh, no, this isn't character object reference is not compatible with skeletal mesh component object reference. Okay, so we just need our own mesh. It seems crazy. Why can't I just put myself in there? All right, mesh. Cat mesh. I know where it's gonna. I'm gonna be able to find it. It's gonna be in like one of these things. This one. Cat mesh. But don't remember having to do this before. But that's probably just because I don't remember having to do this before. Because I'm forgetting how to do it. Alright. See if that was what was going on. Hey, it was what's going on. There we go. Okay, so what we have is the blend time for this montage is, you know, probably half a second or something. So it's taking forever for that hand to come up. And also, you know, between the animations, it's blending out to get ready for the finished portion. So we're getting a lot of blend in and out, which is how it goes until we fix it. In our montage, animation montage, we have somewhere the blend in and blend out times. So the blend in times is going to be like nothing because we want to get right there right away. The blend out time, you know, it could be 0.25, but I think we're going to do a lot less. We'll do 0.1 instead of 0.01. And we've got like a linear blend. Maybe we could try like a cubic one. Oh, I forget what most of these are all weird ones. I don't even know what circular in and out look like. Sounds cool though. And the other element that we were going to say is, so if you do a gunfire, you would have it so that it just hesitates for a while before you put your arm down by itself. That way you can like gunfire and then you're still running around with the arm up and then eventually you'll bring your arm back down. That's why we made a gunfire idle. So the gunfire idle, what we're going to try to do, I think, is just throw it inside of this animontage so it just plays for a lot longer than it used to. So then maybe, in that case, maybe 0.25 is better for our blend out because that's going to be our bring the arm back down again, which we don't want to make it too fast. So we have our gun idle. I can't remember if you can just like, we could just do this, I guess. Just put it right bumper next to each other. I don't know, this is probably going to work fine. In theory, if you wanted to just call the idle, you could just make another notify here and say idle. And so if you were to say, instead of calling fire, you call idle, it'll just start there. And in fact, we should be able to preview idle. Forget how to do this. Montage sections. So right now we go from fire to idle. This whole interface used to be down here. And they changed it in 4.25, I think. And so if you ever look at videos on YouTube or whatever, they'll probably be doing a similar process down here. And you can change it so that, like I don't want to go straight from fire to idle. I want to remove that link. Now they're going to be two separate animations, and we can preview just the idle or just the fire. But what we want to do is say I want to go straight from fire to idle and play them and then stop at the end. And so it gives you the flexibility. And this makes a lot of sense if you're doing like combo 1, combo 2, all this stuff. Sean says, wonder if they'll drastically change it to Unreal 5. Why not, right? Why keep it the same? Just flip it upside down. We'll do it completely differently, just for fun. They will definitely change some stuff in Unreal 5, I'm sure. It's kind of their opportunity to, really say, oh, let's reinvent this. This is a real problem. And they do that sometimes, often. But also, they will inherit stuff from previous versions. So if this particular workflow is really good for people, because they've probably just updated it recently, I bet you we're going to see the same workflow in Unreal 5. But I don't know. There might be some substantial changes that they want to put in. They've been kind of hesitating because it's going to break previous versions or something. But if it ain't broke, break it. I think that's the saying. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Something about that anyways. Actually, I think Facebook used to say that as their saying back in the day. It was something like that. They're like, somehow, don't be afraid to break it. And then over the years, they were like, okay, be afraid to break it. Don't. Let's not do that anymore. We've got too many people. But I think there is some truth to the idea of, experiment and try new ideas and don't get stuck in a loop, because you'll never know what you can gain if you change stuff. But unfortunately, most artists do not like change, so they are highly resistant to it. Hence why you can have taken a nice opportunity of moving to Unreal 5 and saying, okay, we're gonna do version, let's change the rules and try this other idea. And it forces people to like, oh, okay, it's a new version. That being said, Tim Sweeney did specifically say that you should be able to just upgrade from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, just like an update. So it may not be that significant after all. All right. So I think we're good. Let's just try it out. I think we should be able to just see the animation now. Boom. Boom. Boy, it really comes up there fast. Let's slow it down a bit. Where was I? Animation, montage, blend times. Put this back to, let's do 0.1 now instead of 0.01. Boom. Boom. Okay, so if it is 0.1, what I would like to happen is that the animation point of actually, like, I should even call this, well, that might not be true. Let me just take a look here. The actual time, boom, yeah, it really does sort of want to try to fire at that exact moment. I was thinking, well, what if we put an anim notify that says, like, the actual firing happens here? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm thinking of all my options right now, and I'm not coming up with anything that's better than this. So we'll just say, okay, maybe. My thought was, if it's like, if you look at the time frame from 0 to when it actually 0.1 is like here in the animation. So that's really the frame that's going to start being 100% visible. So in theory, you could put like the attack notify for launching the bullet out of there on that particular frame. We messed up, Zuckerberg. Is that a quote? Is that a real quote? That's funny. But yeah, so we could put technically, like, just throw a notify in there right now, just for fun. But we might want to go back to Maya and readjust our timing a little bit so we can cater to this. Probably, yeah. I already have a notify in here. Okay, well, that's great. Let's do insert. No, I've already got a notify track. Let's remove that one. We just have to right click on the timeline part and say add notify. And we can say what kind of notify we want. So let's do this fancy new montage notify, which is gonna trigger something that's gonna happen inside of the event viewer, or whatever it's called. And we'll call it something specific, like gun fired. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm going to copy that because I'm going to need it right away. We'll jump over to our blueprint. We're going to say, interesting. Notify begin is going to activate a. Now I could just start building the infrastructure here, but I think what I'm going to do is build a custom event that will allow me to do the gunshot. So custom event. This is just a bit of a neater way to do it. Gunshot. And then from here, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a. I guess I don't need these anymore. It's gonna have to do a little bit of a question here. So basically, eventually we're gonna go to gunshot, but first we're gonna be like, does the anim notify equal the name of our gun fired? And then we're gonna go branch. And if it's true, then we shoot the gun. And over here, we can say what we want to do here. So we're going to say play effects, spawn effects, spawn emitter. That's what I'm looking for. Spawn emitter at location. This is for the ball of fire, or whatever it is. The location is going to be where the gun tip is. This is the frustration I had in the beginning of my last my last stream. So we could add a socket and we could get the location of the socket as we learned last week, but so I might just try to do that instead. But I need to get the mesh, I guess. Which is not here, it's in the other thing. So, booger. I could put this mesh into a variable that I could keep calling again, or I could like recast everything again. It's a little sloppy to recast it. This is going to get hit every single event. So I think I may actually make a variable. Oh wait, the best way to make a variable in this case is to promote it to variable. So we're going to say this mesh, let's promote to variable. And we'll call it, because it's a very specific skeletal mesh component. So, you know, you could technically find this component on your own. It's inside of all these crazy lists of stuff, but this way that you don't have to worry about which one it is. And what are we calling it? Player, or rather character mesh. We do have to activate that at one point, so I think I'll do it right away. Might even do like a branch here. or sequence. Put that back in there again. Oh, blueprint organizing. Always. Always managing blueprint layouts. It's funny when you watch some people doing their blueprint layout, they're so obsessed with neatness in their YouTube videos. And you're just like, it's okay, man. Just let it go. Let it go. You're like, no, I must organize it very carefully. I'm about as bad. I don't know why I'm making fun of them. I suffer from this just as much as they do. But it's just a bit ridiculous. Alright, so instead we're gonna do get that there, and we'll also be able to get it here because this is going to happen in a pin afterwards. I can't guarantee that this is the best solution ever, but hey, oh actually there is no pin afterwards. It's just going to be executed when it's ready. So anyway, all good. We know it's going to be prepared, so we can get the skeletal mesh, throw it into our, whoa, no we don't. We want to get the location of this skeletal mesh, of a certain joint, of a certain socket. Boy, I hope this is actually how this works. Okay, good. Get socket location, and then we need the socket name. So we're gonna jump over to the skeleton, and we're gonna make a socket where this bullet's gonna fly from. I think I'd already done something like this in the cinematics, and I just used the joint, but I did that in sequencer, I think. That's why I was able to get away with it. But yeah, it's right here. Oh, there is a socket there. All right, well, never mind. I don't have to do anything. So I've already created a socket. I must have done that from the cinematic. Copy that, bring it back to blueprints, paste it in there. And that is going to be our location where this is going to spawn from. What are we going to do once it spawns? Good question. I need to like project it forward. That could actually be part of the emitter, where it has like I forget what it's called, the word that it you know, pushes it forward, velocity or something. Or we spawn it and then we apply a force on it to it afterwards. I don't know. I don't really know what the best idea is yet. Circle attack. What was the one we were using our cinematic? Let's go find out. Cinematics, posing. Bring that over there for a sec. P beam laser ice. P beam laser. Whoops, spelled laser wrong. Ace. Okay. Auto destroy when it's completed. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. Well, you probably want to auto destroy it, otherwise you get like thousands of particles building up in your content browser, or your asset browser, or whatever it's called. World outliner, I should say. Let's see, what else are we doing here? Let's just see if this works. We can do a sound effect too afterwards. Boom! Boom! I didn't know it did the draw of the line as well. That's interesting. That actually kind of makes it more interesting. Like, oh yeah, and they're always pointing in the same direction. So obviously I didn't use the rotation of the socket. We only use the translation only. So I should actually just grab the whole transform. Well, yeah, sure. Get socket transform. We'll split it up. Gotta use a name. Transforming world space. Yeah, I think that's what we want. And we want to get the location and the rotation. Try it again. Alright, so now our problem is socket's not rotated the same way as the object is set up, so it's pretty funny though, the way we're getting all these things. What is up with this error? Really curious. Oh, is valid. Standard macros. Hold on. I went too far in. Execute. That's where the error is? Access none, trying to read the property of get player character return value on closing. I wish I could just like stop that from happening. Oh, you know what? This may actually cause an error. But I don't know whether it's worth doing, but we'll do it anyways. Is valid. There's no execute pen required, so why is there no execute pen required? Ah, here it is, gunshot. There we go. So it won't actually go through here until it's ready. So our gunshot is facing the wrong direction. Did we change the particle or did we change the socket? I'm tempted just to change the socket to -90 because that always seems to magically fix the issue. Let's see if that will be all we have to do. No. We still have, like, yeah, a variety of options here. Do we change the socket or do we change the direction of the application? Because we're getting the rotation of the socket and we're applying it directly, but I still feel like the socket's the right idea. But what was it? It was on the x-axis, which is hold on. X-axis. Oh, wait, no, not that one. Y-axis? Yeah. 90. Beautiful. I like how they just stay forever. Now what are we doing? We got this gunfire. We gotta make those things disappear over time. They seem to be running forever, infinitely. We could manually tell them to be destroyed. Them beams. They are kind of cool, but I did not see how that is gonna make any sense to keep them there. We do have to destroy them eventually. Here's our return value. So this is actually going to be the gunfire beam. We can probably say destroy component. We're going to want to wait for... It would be cool if the particle went and disappeared, but I mean, that's probably going to take way longer than me just saying, let's just destroy it after a certain amount of delay. We should do a retriggerable. No, we'll just do a delay. No, we won't, because we're not going to be able to do that either. Delay is up here then. delay for 0.5 seconds maybe. And then we do destroy it. Pew, pew, pew. 2.5 seconds is too long. And plus it's not following the character, which is looking really weird. Definitely like a laser shot now. Used to be like a... Oh look, you can actually see it like... Looks like it's traveling forward, even though I don't know if it is. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. So one of the risks that I was worried about was I'm not really pointing it based on... I'm pointing it based on the socket, so it really is completely relevant to what does the gun animation point towards. In some circumstances, maybe you can really be careful about how you want the gun to be aiming in the animation, but in this case, we want it to be perfectly aligned to a crosshair in the middle of the screen or something. So realistically, the rotation of the emitter shouldn't even be based on the socket at all. It should really just be based on the direction of the player pawn, which I'm going to try it. We'll see if we can do this. Get player, either the pawn or the controller. I feel like the controller or the character. Well, it depends. If your mouse is like pointing over here, you want to shoot where the mouse is, or you want to shoot where the character is? You probably want to shoot where the mouse is, which is going to look really wrong if we don't put it in some sort of blend space for the arm direction pointing. Let me just play it for a second and just get a sense where I'm at here. So yeah, like this kind of scenario, that might seem a bit strange that you're firing at things and you're like, ugh, I'm not firing anywhere near I want to fire. You're kind of shooting like you're a tank. The realistic, you'd be like, I want to shoot right where I'm seeing. Let's try to do it the right way. So we're going to do get player controller as opposed to character. Maybe pawn, I'm not sure. Get rotation, actor rotation, control rotation. Control rotation is the full aim rotation, which may be different from the camera orientation. Okay, sure. We'll just do it, see what happens. Yeah, that does seem to be working. Yeah, that was way too easy. Okay, well, I would say that's fairly accurate. So I've sort of volunteered myself to do the arm blending now, which I have not done that in Unreal 4. So we're going to be experiencing some serious R&D as we do this. What was the other priorities we had? Oh, sound effects was another one. Let's see here. Let's put the sound in first, just for fun, since I don't even know what sound effect we're going to use. Alright, gun blast, we're going to do that as one element. And then we'll do another one for the, this is the spawn VFX. And then we go spawn sound effects. That is not how this works. Let me do, hold on a sec. Sound, play sound, create spawn sound at location. Location is the same as this, which I think I'm just gonna grab it again. Get sockets, transform, or just location. I don't care about what rotation it is. In fact, even that one could be just rotation now because we're using the rotation from a totally different source. Socket name is this one. Hold on a sec, I was gonna make a little comment box before I lose my clipboard here. And now I'm gonna grab this, put it in there. And double click that. Okay. Now, what's the sound effect gonna be? All good. I assume that was probably when I was struggling with my thought process of how I was going to do the blending of the arms. It's the only thing I can think of. Likely. Let's see if we can come up with sound effects. So when you do sound effects, you want to put cues in instead of the actual sound waves, because in the cues you have a bunch of options you can manipulate inside of a nice interface. Now, the problem is I don't know what any of these sounds sound like, so what we're going to do is go to content browser and do a search for sound effects. Sounds, and we're going to do all of our engine content because the engine has a bunch of free sounds that are, well, free in the sense of they are memory free because they already exist inside the editor. Buttons, compile. Ooh, awesome sound effect. You guys probably can't hear any of my sound effects, so I turned them all off. Let me just double check. Let me double check again. Pretzel. Desktop audio, there it is. Totally doesn't work. Desktop audio fail. It's too bad. Oh well, you just have to trust me that there's cool sound effects. Wait, hold on a sec. I can maybe fix this. Audio properties. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to change the settings if I can do this. Default is headphones. Oh no, I've got all kinds of other problems. That's why I'm not doing that. Alright, we're getting a couple sound effects here. I'm gonna really have to figure out how I'm gonna do the headphones properly down the road. Probably getting echoey audio from the pretzel there. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, here we go. So, hopefully we're getting the sound effects in there, so at least you can tell what I'm doing here. Oh, that sounds like a cool laser. This is like the tiniest little noise. Whoa! Whoa. Alright, let's do that one. That's cool. We're gonna say Right, we want the Q. Okay, they quieted it down. So I grab that assets. Hold on, where's all my menus? Oh shoot. Forgot where I put my menus. I think I closed them all. How do I copy this? It's called Start Simulate Q. Let's just remember that. Metro. Start. No, simulate. Oh, it was to start simulate. All right, all that work so that we can have a little bit of a sound effect. Let's try it out. Yes, it works. All right. So back to the world of trying to get this to, oh goodness, yeah, right. So the blends for the aiming. The reason why I'm so worried about this blend thing is because it requires a lot of very careful math, and I don't have a good grasp of what to expect on this one. So I'm gonna create like a bunch of poses for like 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, 90 degrees up, 90 degrees down, and then we have to do 3/4, and then and the blend space is just going to be based on those different poses, and then we're just going to get them to go based on the mouse movement relative to the character position. This is where it's going to get hard, because the character position is going to be down X or whatever, one direction, and camera is going to be on this direction. So we have to like look at those two rotations, figure out what the offset is, and then that needs to give us a number of what the blend space ratio needs to be. Sounds crazy, because subtracting rotations is way harder than it sounds. You basically have to get the forward vector of 1 no, I don't think that makes sense. I've always had a lot of trouble with rotations and trying to do math on it. I think everybody does. It's really hard to do, because oh yeah, so there might be a function that gives you the arc, the amount of degrees between one angle and another angle, and gives you that separation arc. And that's what I need is you know, is it 90 degrees? But then you have to know if it's like up or down. And this is gonna be really hard. I got an idea. Let's see if anybody's already created one on the marketplace. Basically, my backup plan on this one is, if I can't think of it, I'll do some research offline and see what we can do. But yeah, it's interesting to be able to approach, especially as an animator. It would be really neat if we could like accomplish this. But if it gets too crazy with like, you know, trying to do math, insane math, everybody glossy eyes over and goes, wow, I'm never doing that ever again, then it's kind of counterproductive. So because our alternative, of course, is to just simply make the character always point in the direction that you're firing, which is just a simple checkbox. But it doesn't quite look as cool, I think. Agreed. Gamepad aiming, aim assist. I wonder what this looks like. $32. No, it's not even the right third person thing. Isn't that funny that I can't find it? Ah, here we go. This is just the animations. I'm looking to see if they've got a start loop. Because you know, there is a theory that you can also, rather than creating the poses in Maya, you can also like force the poses via like IK targets in Unreal, which is even more complicated, and I don't really like that solution anyways, because you know, there's some really cool things you can do when you're aiming in terms of the rest of the body motions. Let's just act like we know what we're doing and just keep going. And then I'm gonna get stuck. And then we're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm stuck. And we'll just carry on. So we're gonna do another scene where we, basically what we did last time, where we had a gunfire. Or maybe I should use the gunfire one I already have. Ah, that's a much better idea. Gun hold pose, gun aim fire. I'll have the animation in there, and I might even want to do it in a in the same animation timeline, even though I say I don't usually do that. But it would be pretty easy to just be a whole bunch of keyframes. Mission. Okay, so 54 is where that animation ends. We'll do all the posing right after that. Make sure that we have everything keyed, locked down before I start doing crazy poses. And so the first pose is going to be, I should probably do, we got definitely up, left, right, down, 3/4 left, 3/4 right, 3/4 left down, 3/4 left right, or I'll just say all the words. And we'll see what we got here. And this will be our default pose here. So 55 is, you know, I'll try to keep it in a more logical order than that, but rotate the arm so that we are 90 degrees this way. I don't think we're going to be able to do 90 degrees. But maybe we can. Sure we can. Why can't we do 90 degrees? We just have to, like, pose it better. Okay. Getting this thing posed. Now how do you know it's 90 degrees? Well, I don't know. You just gotta eyeball it. Top down. You could, in theory, get really careful with it. And I do remember when we did do these back in the day, we were very careful with it. But I'm not totally sure if it matters that much. We just, maybe we're doing it for just for the sake of knowing that it was accurate, because it was our job. But I feel like you wouldn't really know if it was off that much as long as it looks like it's on. We were doing a shotgun too, so it was a bit different. Two-handed shotgun. Okay, so there's our pose. We go there, there. Maybe we'll just do left and right for now. Because I could spend a lot of time doing these poses and then go, oh yeah, it doesn't work. And I'll be like, well, that was a waste. I was always master of it isn't showing, so who will ever know? Awesome. Is that Scott? That's awesome that you're watching the stream. Hey, thanks for the confirmation, by the way. Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. You just go like, hey man, if you can't see it on the screen, who cares? Yeah, I must admit, I'm probably not very good at practicing that, but it's a great argument, and I think it's because I work in the games industry and you can't really do that most of the time. But I do know that there is some significant benefits, time-saving benefits, if you can identify what's not on the screen. It definitely makes sense in film too, where you're just like, oh, dude's bottom half isn't even the screen. Why do I care about what's going on with the feet? And that makes a lot of sense. Except for one scenario where I was helping an animator out and they had distorted the character so badly because they weren't properly understanding where the body was at the time, that it ended up making a lot more sense just to like reassemble the whole body and go, see, this is why it doesn't make any sense. Your feet are not in the right place and all this other stuff. But I think that was just a very specific scenario, so most of the time, don't animate things you can't see. Make sure I'm not missing any messages other besides what's on Twitch here. All right, so there's our other shot angle. So we got that shot, and we obviously have the front shot. So I guess my point was we were just gonna do the two. So we're gonna do left and right, and then center would be already there. So let's see what we can do here with these ones. And we'll save this read only because I've got it on source control. Got name fire, check it out. Save. Let's go to the game exporter. Couple more. Whoops. It's gonna be gun, aim, left. Gun, aim, right. This is frame 56, no, 55. Okay, we have to do start and end. I think we start with 55, and then we start with 56. right. And we don't need to export these anymore. So export that. Save. Do that later. Animation. Import. Oh man, I'm in the wrong place completely here. There we go. Aim on left and right. Open that up. Skeleton has to be symmetrical character. Import all. That did not work. It would not work. Oh, I know why. I mean, I think I know why. I forgot to select. I forgot to open the file? No, that can't be right. That's not right. What? Oh, here it is. I forgot. It says export selection. I forgot to select the character. So let's do it again. With the character selected this time. If I can remember where the character root is. There it is. Export. Place. There we go. Now it's actually taking some time to load, which is much more satisfying than instantaneously. It's complete. Boy, it really has gone to the opposite extreme here. Now it's taking forever to export. Okay. So now that since we've already imported it, we can just say reimport animation. And now we have 2 frames going crazy. I don't understand why we can't just like export it 1 frame. Why does it have to be like 2 frame animation? Now we're getting both angles here. Interesting to see that the gun is just transporting in a linear direction from one pose to the next. But meanwhile, the one that's assigned to the hand is doing a nice arc. So, doesn't matter because the gun that's floating in the air is not visible in the game. So I think it'll be fine. Although that would be a very legit conflict that we'd have to solve if that wasn't the case. Still haven't really solved the problem though. I only wanted 1 pose. I don't know if you can put poses into a blend space. There's a whole pose thing. You can export assets. No, that's not what we want to do. Ah, shoot, how do you do that again? There's a way that you can save poses, but I don't know. I don't remember how to do it. You can make static meshes, but that's not what you want. That's just going to be a shell of a mesh. Oh, here we go. Create pose asset. So you can create a pose, which is a totally different type of thing. It's almost like a blend space or something that you could do. Okay, well, I'll just make one just for fun. Create current pose. This would be our left animation. I'm gonna call it animation pose. Gun, aim, left, and that's our pose. Which is a totally different system, as you can see. It's really strange. But if you can put it in blend spaces, then I can totally get why you would make them. So we're gonna make a new blend space. from our skeletal mesh, create blend space. We want to make sure we don't not a 1D blend space. We definitely need a 2D one. So we'll call it blend space gun aim. And I think we're going to throw our blend space back into animation here. So we'll open that up. I've got a bunch of different degrees. Let me see if I can put gun aim left into left. Boo. Invalid asset type. That was really cool if it would have worked. Alright, so anyway, you put anim left on the left. Anim right on the right. Oh, look at that. It's no longer flipping back and forth anymore. I think that's because I paused the animation. That's why. Right. So, I mean, in theory, I could go in here and say I don't want this animation to play very fast. You could make the play rate really, really slow. But in the end of the day, I just want like it to be a held pose. So I'm gonna go and back to on Maya. I'm pretty sure if you just exported it normally, you wouldn't be restricted by this thing. You could say 56, 56, and it wouldn't switch the numbers on you. So I'm gonna make them 2-frame long animation poses, I guess, rather than set up a whole manual exporting process that I have to do every time I want to update it. So I grab all the controllers. Timeline is really tiny. So 55 is our first pose. So I'm gonna make this an extra frame. Copy paste that pose. And then this is our next frame. Oops. Actually, what I could do is instead of copy paste it, I could make these stepped poses. Sorry, clamped. No, they're called stepped. Let's get them mixed up. So then it just stays there for 2 frames. I don't see a key there, so I don't have to worry about accidentally putting a change on a place that isn't the key. This is foresight for mistakes I make easily. I'll just pop these out a little bit for myself. Alright, so the next pose is now 57. Let's go save that. Export. No. Game export. Exporter. This is 55, 56, and 57 to 58. And go. Alright. While I'm waiting for that to load, let me see if I can fix my green screen a little bit here. It seems to be a little bit like green screeny. Alright, let's try that. A little clearer now. Not that anyone can see it or cares, but I saw it and it was bothering me. And it still hasn't finished exporting, so that was efficient. Sort of. Still waiting for it to finish. Still gotta figure out what I'm gonna do after this is finished. Like, okay, now we've got the 2 poses. So I've got to make sure I make it so that we've got to throw the blend space into the anim graph and say, you know, on this axis we're gonna say the number ratio is based on the camera movement. I might be able to steal some logic I brought in from one of the class tutorials we had, where we used a velocity to propel the police hat character, which was kind of cool. But it's one of these things where you're like, okay, well, to do it spontaneously on the fly, not likely I'm going to get it done on the first try. But if you do it patiently and maybe do some Google searches, it's something you can accomplish by yourself as an artist or an animator. Wow, this takes so long to export, it's ridiculous. Oh, you know what I was gonna do? Hey Sean, are you still listening? You want me to show your animation? Are you comfortable with that? I was gonna do that before the end of the stream here. You gotta give me a yay or nay if you're even listening. Yep, alright, we got a big happy face. Let's go do that right now while we're waiting for this to export. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see if I can download it. Wow, that was easy. Alright, so this is it. This is the updates, the latest updates from Sean, doing the animation sequence that requires new rigs. Oh, this is only the very beginning part, actually. You've given me the update. You're probably all like, oh no, it's the old stuff. Alright, we're gonna do a different version here. Send you the newish one, he says. Keep opening the same file. I'm not sure why that keeps happening. Here we go. This is the oldish one. For comparison. And we got great sound effects, super loud. Maybe we should turn that down. There it is. Beautiful. And then we'll get the newer one now. The one that we can actually review and talk about. So the jar now goes through between the legs. Got a little bit more of a pause and a shuffle up of camera shots here. Nice. So satisfying at the end. Looks great. It's pretty fun. I definitely enjoy all the energy and the craziness. It's not that new, it's more of the same. Yeah. That's alright. It's fun. I mean, I feel like you're at a stage now, you're doing so well that you're pretty close to like an enjoyable product that you can just show people. There's some subtlety that we could always just go on and on about like little details. Like, for example, this jar rolling and doing some bounces and stuff. Like, it's really hard to do good physics animations by hand, and I really appreciate when you do see someone who has got it like really nailed, because it's not a simple process, and that's usually why people will just try to simulate it, try to get the physics right. So this one, I kind of feel like the way it bounces is better, like it's definitely better than it was, because it's rolling vertically and it doesn't have any problems, but it has this slippery feel to it, like right in this section here. Oh, I don't have a very good, see, I need my QuickTime Pro. I don't have it for my excellent scrubbing abilities. But it just feels really slippery, like it's bouncing around on ice. And I feel like when it touches the ground, it would really grab the ground and cause it to really like do a spin, and it's just very complicated. And then here it actually looks like it's cutting through the mesh, the concrete a little bit. So little things like that. The hand coming down now, that looks much better, by the way. I know it was kind of a review that we talked about, but yeah, it's not distracting. You get the sense of what's going on. Jar has a lot of slipperiness. Tried to make it knock off the feet to slow down. Even then, it's still slippery. Yeah. Exactly. They really changed this shot too. I mean, it's the hand over here now. So much more different than it was. But it's definitely looking better. Sweet. I like the ending too, like just the fact that he has that sort of return pose. You know, there's a lot of time there to let it read and sit. And I'm sure there's some subtle polish stuff that we could talk about for that last part, but it's like, it does feel good, like it feels complete. So that's really an important step. Yeah, it's fun. Alright, back to the grind here. I'm gonna get these guys imported again. That didn't work, so that's not good. Plus this is not the right one. No, it just didn't work. Oh, I know what it was. The same as... No, I didn't. Shoot. Put all my money into the... Hey, no problem. I put all my money into the time exporting. I'm like, oh, it'll totally work. And now I'm like, oh, it didn't work. Now I gotta export it again. Alright, we can probably find a way to make this right, but I have to figure out what exactly happened there because I didn't have it selected right. Look, that's why it took so long. I had all these controllers selected. I'm supposed to have this selected. Alright, let's do it again. There is probably a better method for getting the export selection right. Oh, I think it's this right here. You can do a selection set. And you could just use that selection set, I think. Not sure if I can do that right now. I think I gotta wait until it's finished exporting. So, there we go. Yeah, it's much faster when you don't have all the controllers included. So here's your quick set selection set. Selection sets are the actually, this, I think, is a selection set right here. Controls, face controls, default light objects. Okay, so if I take this object and I go create sets, create a set, quick select set, and I call it animation. I should call it Symmetro Body Animation Export. Whatever. Okay, and we have another little selection set in our list of in our outliner, and I should be able to pick it, I hope. Okay. Oh, now all of a sudden I can see all of them. What was that all about? I just created one. Well, I just showed you how to do it two different ways then. Alright, we don't need two versions of it. We just need the one. There we go. Selection set. Export object select. Now I no longer have to worry about whether I've got the character selected properly or not. Alright, so we'll save that. Let's get that imported into my source control here. Aiming left, right. Keep it checked out. Submit. Jump back here. And pick these to say reimport. No, sorry. Reimport. So it goes and grabs the files from their original sources. Ah, that just crashed the editor. Don't do two at once, I guess. I was trying to save some time. I wonder how much stuff we've lost. There we go. Restore packages. I want probably all of them to be restored. Thank you, autosaves. Too bad Maya didn't do that more often. It does have autosaves, but very rarely comes and rescues things. I always find Maya automatically turns off autosaves for no apparent reason. It's very annoying. It's like, I'm pretty sure I put autosave on. Why did it not work? And it's like, oh, I turned it off. What am I doing now? I want to go to characters, animation, left, reimport, right, reimport, save all, save selected. There we go. Finally, we got our pose. Alright, let's go see what we can do with this. We want to put the blend space into our anim graph as the upper body blend, but now we have to do a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll see how far I can get with this. It does get complex potentially, because now we're doing an upper body blend that's going to have only happen during the gunfire. I guess we kind of already have a little bit of that. In fact, what happens if you fire the gun? What do the legs look like right now, currently? Yeah, see, we're in like T-pose, kind of, as soon as we shoot the gun. Right. That was because this slot is basically overriding everything we've done before that. We have all this careful layer blending for the gun hold pose for when we're running. We're doing all these transformations of where the gun goes, and then all of a sudden we go, okay, let's just completely override the entire body and do a montage. So that montage should probably actually just be a blend that goes to the upper body, and then that way the character can be running and shooting at the same time. And I remember this brings up a whole new element with using a, oh, I forget what it's even called, like cached pose from our character, which we're going to blend. So layered blend per bone is what we're doing again. Here for the blend that we're going to put on. Yeah, so when we blend weight is at 1, we're going to be using this. This is going to be on the upper body. Sorry, here we go. Add a new branch filter. That's going to be called upper body, which is spine, rib cage, maybe. We'll blend it from here up. So we'll copy selected bone names, put that into our bone name for our blend. And and cross our fingers that that works at all. That will eventually go here. Now, what we need is our base pose. And what we can do is basically, I mean, we're doing a lot of blend stuff here, but we want this idle run to be put into our first blend, but you can't have the output go to two places at once. It can only go one direction. So what you do is you create a cache of the run. I could probably call it something better than that. Idle run cache. And then you can call that cache as many times as you want. So use the idle run cache to paste it here, and then use it again to paste it here. Is this the best way to approach it? I have no idea. I'm tempted to believe no, because this is a lot of calculations for things that are just going to get overridden by your animatage, but maybe it will work. Maybe it's a good idea. Let's just see if it actually works first. Alright, so we got some running. And we got the arm out. The gun, of course, is in the wrong place, because we must be overriding that, because it's on the other part of the blend space. Also, you'll notice the arm is down on the ground, or aiming towards the ground. That is a simple checkbox that you can switch inside of the layered blend pose. It's like blend root motion based on root bone. Turn that off, and then all of a sudden, no, sorry, I was mistaken. What else was it? Mesh space rotation blend. Is this it? If I turn that on? I was so confident with my last answer. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so now the hand is standing straight up. And the back, their whole spine is all straight up too. Which is like, you know, she's running full body here, but then put that gun fire in. Oh, also you notice her left arm is not blending. So maybe our idea of using the rib cage, this is where we might need two, one for the neck up and one for the left arm up. That way the right arm, oh sorry, the left arm is the one that's dangling around. So this one's still using the body animation, but this down here will use the gun, and this up here will use the gun, so that we get the head aiming the right direction. So we have to maybe use two different things, hopefully. So not left. Or was it possible that we could do like the other way around, where we just say, no, never mind, that's not a very good idea. Arm collar, right arm collar. Yeah, okay, right arm collar. We'll start there. Copy selected bones. Use that instead. And we'll add another one. That's gonna be what am I gonna use? Neck. Oh yeah, neck. Neck. The first neck one. Copy selected bones. Put that one in there. Compile, save, and cross fingers. Hey, there we go. All right, we got some spine movement in there too, so that actually looks pretty good. And the head's tilted now, which actually really helps. Now, notice how we have like 100% blend. I'm not sure if you can just 50-50 it. That'd be kind of cool to get a little head bob in there while you're slightly tilted. Or maybe additive. That would be even better if we could do additive blending. Right now we're doing override. Normalize by weight, blend by weight. I don't know if that works. Oh, here we go, blend depth. Oh yeah, that's just, I think that's like how many joints it goes up. And right now it's on all of them. Blend weights. Yeah, see, I don't know. This is the blend weight. You got either on or off. You can turn on the blend. So, but if I take it 50%, then the arm isn't going to stand perfectly straight either. Which, I don't know, I guess I could make 2 blend spaces and cache them in or something. But I'm just going to say, oh well, who cares? We'll worry about the bigger problem. The fact that the gun is floating on the ground right now. That is, I believe, because the gun joint is way down here on the hierarchy, and all that stuff's getting blended. So maybe I should put that into the layout as well. That might actually solve the problem. How awesome would that be? Just put the gun in here. Paste. Compile. Play. Hey, look at that. Well, that was easier than I expected. Oh no. Spoke way too soon. Way too soon. So that's actually oh boy. This is so complicated now. Hey, at least I got a sick. This so what we're talking about right now is the transform modify to move the prop bone to the location that is required is coming from the gun transform and rotation. Blah, blah, blah. Where's that coming from? I forget. Spawn. Oh geez, I forget how this all works. There it is, gun transform. Oh, we're looking for the socket. Okay. I guess what's happening is, this is my guess. We've decided where the gun position is. We've placed it there. And then all of a sudden this modifies it. Because it's just going to those blend spots. And meanwhile the spine is still being used from... I mean, it's probably just got to do with this checkbox. If I turn that checkbox off again, I wonder if the gun will be now in the right place. No, it's even worse, actually. Let's do both of these for fun. What's interesting is it's not really bouncing around, right? Like, it's very steady, even though... Why is it steady? Like, where's that... What information is it getting that's causing it to say, oh, it's just gonna stay still? Wow, I have my kids going crazy. You probably can hear that in the background there. Blend root motion. What's funny is that we're trying to solve a problem. We haven't even got to the aiming part yet. It's like one problem after the next here. We're getting the transform from the socket of the mesh of the character who's probably not animating, I guess. I don't know. This one's going to be tough. I almost feel like the proper answer is, you know, maybe we should be attaching the gun differently. Maybe this is not the right... It might just be a sorting order. Like maybe we should attach the gun after we do the posing thing. I don't know if that's gonna help or not. Or even if that makes sense. Because realistically, why does the gun even look like it's in the right place in the first place? Why is it not still down by the hips? If I was to change the order, that would just mean putting the... What is this doing? This is putting the gun hold pose on top of it. I mean, that's pretty fair that I do that afterwards. Try it out. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at that. Oh, okay. I'm like, how is that? Does that kind of work? I mean, I think we're missing some of the wrist animation because it's getting overridden by some of the other stuff. But also, when you go into idle, it's like T-posed, which I'm really not thinking about this deeply enough to really fully get the understanding of what I'm doing. But, you know, so far it's been pretty good, so I'm just going with the flow here. I'm gonna try moving this different order. Apparently we're using a cache here. So, oops, I should probably reuse the cache again. Put that here. That here. So basically I'm doing hand pose overridden by the animation montage, and then we do the gun transform at the last minute before we do our final output. It sounds like it makes sense, but alright, well, it didn't change it for the worse. You can still see, like, yeah, you can still see the animation. So there you go, that's pretty good. We've probably got the hand pose in there too, that's matching, so that's good. Yeah, it's just like, what's up with the T-pose? What am I forgetting? Why is the arm animation not coming through? We've got some other reason why that's happening. Arm animation is coming from here. It's going to the cache. Cache is coming in through here. It's getting ignored probably because this is from the wrist. No, this should be fine. It's getting ignored here because this is saying don't do anything from the arm down, even if the blend is 0. Okay, well, maybe that's what's going on. We have a blend weight of 0 to 1. Oh shoot, nobody's... How the... Oh yeah, right. Yeah, wait a minute. Does that mean I have to put... Oh, hold on a sec. Here we go. Cache idle run. Goes into the slot. So it's being fed the correct information. This... Oh goodness, it worked. I'm probably the only one that knows what I'm talking about, but because I'm like, just like, oh yes, that made sense, but I don't really quite understand why it made sense. But meanwhile, I'm like going to these like dark corners of my brain where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some weird stuff here. All right, so I guess I don't know if I really need to explain it, but we've definitely got the cache going into the blend space, and we pulled that information again to make sure we're blended on or off. It's pulling the same data through. I think it's just allowing this to be like working properly now, even if it's turned off. That's what it is. If this is turned off, we're getting... No, I don't know. We're getting this information in there now. That's coming from here. instead of through there. So this is always on. That's what it is. This is always on. It's always set to 1. So you're always getting both information feeds, and what was happening before was if there was no anim montage, it would just play default neutral, but it's overriding certain joint chains. But now we're saying even if there's no animation montage playing, we're still playing this, still going through the blend space and setting, and so you're seeing both arms. In theory, what we could do is have like some kind of variable that comes from here that says, oh, we're in gun mode, let's turn it on, turn it off, and then it would ignore everything that's going in this part. But we have it currently set so that it's always turned on, it's always running. All right, so that's, yay, that's good. I better, let's submit this stuff here. This source control. What are you doing? We got 5 minutes? Oh my goodness. Adding gunfire and running. And so the problem obviously that we still have is the character when they're looking at a different direction, we don't have any aim blend space in there. Hold on, it's still submitting to Perforce. So what we'll try to do is integrate the blend space in there, which is another element into the anim flow that we're talking about. Man, I hope it's still submitting to Perforce. Oh, here we go. And try to make it so that part of how this works is using the we'll see if this makes any sense. It's possible that right now what we're doing when we're aiming and firing, we're using the anim montage slot, but that's not really going to allow us to use the other node, which is the blend space. Oh, okay. How come I can't just import the blend space like I can here? Idle run. Where's the other one? Did I lose my blend space? Oh, there it is. Gunfire. This is the one that we created. Now that we have the animations working properly, they're blending pretty good. So we have a value on the horizontal. We haven't even named it yet. So the horizontal is, I guess it's just aim horizontal. Oh, maybe I should do pitch yaw, aim yaw, and then it would be minus a value range of -1, the positive one. Number of grid divisions is 2. We basically have here and here, and this is the aim pitch. Well, I got 2 more minutes left, so we're gonna probably wrap it up after this with a summary. -1, +1, 2. So now our grid, you can see here, are very, very simple, but we would want an animation here, 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 and here. And as you can see, the characters should kind of move around as if they're, you know, every little number ratio that we put in here should give us kind of a nice effect, which is the easy part. And then somehow we have to bring the blend space in here, but I don't know why I can't find, oh, there it is, now it showed up. Blend space, game, gun aim, and there's our anim yaw, anim pitch, and that goes into somewhere. It's gonna be somehow overriding this. Perhaps what we'll do is create a blend per bone effect again. So we take the animontage when the gun comes up. I don't know how this is going to work exactly. And then, see, this is where you have to maybe decide the blends weights 1 and 0. So we would have one that says, is the character aiming the gun? Then we blend 1, and then we can use the blend space to control the montage. Or maybe we shouldn't do montages. Maybe we should just put them in blend space. But we have to manipulate. Yeah, see, I got a lot of thinking to do. So, anyways, I'll wrap it up there. I don't want to go too much into that because I know it's getting kind of confusing to follow. And thanks, Sean, for saying you got this. We'll see how I get into this next week because I may have to do a little bit of previous thoughts. I'm sure there's a good backup solution too in how we can handle this. Like, you know, deciding to say, well, I can't make this work. Let's just change the camera system in a different way. Or we'll come back to this later and we'll just focus on something that more consistent. But it would be a lot of fun to get this to work. I think it's worth my R&D time to figure it out. So I'm gonna probably pursue it, but it depends on how much time I have to take a look at it first before my next stream. So we actually have something interesting to talk about instead of me just babbling around about all my thoughts and theories. And as always, feel free to give me some different thoughts and ideas about what you want me to talk about, because it's really just about having fun and trying to explore things that are interesting. I feel like this is pretty relevant, but I'm always open to listen for other ideas and things to talk about. And I'll leave it there, but thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out there, Sean and Scott, if you were still around, and whoever else was watching. And I'll see you guys again next week. Take care. Cheers.